Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? A few of you guys have asked about the SSR list out of the option of 77 with the exchangeable ability with the wish strip, so I kind of want to keep this a little bit concise and I don't know, basically summarize. Otherwise it would potentially end up being like a 30-minute video, so I am going to be blasting through this, and you know, I might not cover every single unit, but if you do have any additional feedback as to some of the recommendations outside of what I have, feel free to comment and basically leave your own input as to what the best choices are. Now again, these are my opinions based on what I know in the game, so again, this isn't like 100% factual or anything. It's certainly opinion based, but let's just dive right into it. So again, you can get up to 7 wish strips from the Tanabata, celebration, whether that's through logins or missions or the Purunga wishes. So a lot of EZAs have occurred in the past year with a lot of the units falling into that. So I want to go through this as briefly as possible. As basically I want to avoid information overload. So with that being said, let's just run into it. I want to start off with these guys because they are pretty decent from an EZA standpoint. So if we go to this and we go to the final state and the EZA itself, as you can see, this guy does have a medium chance of stunning the enemy. Also gets 77% toward attack and defense, a pretty big key boost plus an additional 77% toward attack and defense when HP is less. So certainly a good option for Super Battle Road. Now the Extreme Super Battle Road setting is quite difficult, so basically increasing your odds of a medium chance of stunning the enemy to mitigate damage might not be a bad choice with that. Plus it's a Super Saiyan unit, so of course very, very versatile in terms of the units you can link up with. Now this one is also pretty decent, and again I just want to kind of roughly run through some of the information and stats. So this guy is a pretty good supporting type unit for the Super Saiyan 2 category. The unit itself is pretty decent. I mean, gets at least attack and defense increase of 70% plus the allies will get a key +3 and attack increase of 30%, and also Super Saiyan 2 category allies get that defense increase of 30%. So definitely a very good option for especially a Super Saiyan 2 setup, but does also fall into a fair amount of categories here. Alright, the next one I want to cover is probably the, the Maya unit is actually pretty decent for like a Super Battle Road setting, the stunning mechanics as well as support for the agility types. I'm not going to go through the details as to that unit. I don't think anyone would necessarily opt to pick her out of all the units available. So of course, Caulifla, she did get an EZA, so I guess we can just kind of run through it briefly and talk about her, stats and improvements based on the EZA itself. So again, it's currently out, available already on JP. Attack increase of 120%, defense increase of 60%, as well as that high chance of evading enemy attacks, including supers, or medium chance of evading enemies SA and countering with tremendous power. Attack effective against all types when there's a Kale unit on the same rotation. So definitely a lot of good skill sets with that, along with ability to raise defense by 60% for 3 turns. Definitely a good option to potentially have for the Battle Road settings. Again, it's a high chance, but if it doesn't kick in, she can definitely be somewhat of a liability defensively, but at least she has that ability to also raise defense by 60%, with every super attack, so not a bad option. Now, a lot of these conversations are going to be revolving around Super Battle Road because, again, the point of improving your deck is to be able to clear events like that. The Dokkan events themselves aren't really that difficult to where it's necessarily, you have to have really good units for it. So this is a good one too for the Battle Road setting, along with supreme damage, medium chance of stunning the enemy, plus you get a phenomenal boost toward attack and defense, key +3 plus an additional attack and defense increase of another 150%, high chance of evading enemy attacks including supers for 7 turns from the start of turn. So of course this is a pretty ideal candidate for the Battle Road settings. Now if you're running the super agility versus extreme strength, you do have to consider some of the links here, but at least fierce battle, shocking speed, And in a sense, those are fairly common links where you could potentially link up with other units. I would probably condense it down to Shocking Speed and Fierce Battle as being probably the better links if you are running a super agility team setting on Battle Road. Of course, this guy does fall into a fair amount of other categories like Universe Survival Saga. Obviously, we have a SBR setting for that as well, but definitely a decent unit for sure. Dispo is getting an EZA for sure. So we obviously we don't know what the stats are at this point, but certainly a decent option for that, and we'll find out how broken the EZA itself will be. I have a feeling it's the EZAs for Dispo and Tupple will actually be very, very good. So that's my guess. This guy does also have that medium chance of stunning as well with the EZA. Out of the group, I think, if I were to pick personally, I would either pick this guy or the Golden Frieza. So let's go ahead and click on the Angel Goku real fast, and we'll go from there. So with the EZA, these are pretty much the stats. An orb changer, based on the amount of key spheres obtained, you get that attack and defense increase of 10%, 20% plus that HP recovery ability. And this guy will recover a lot of HP depending on how much key you obtain. Plus, basically, you get attack and defense increase of 5% additionally per key sphere obtained based on, Vegeta's family category enemy. This guy falls into a fair amount of good categories, and again, certainly one of the worthwhile units to potentially exchange the wish strips for. Of course, the other one right here, one of the best tanks in the game, did recently get an EZA. The good thing about this guy's EZA is the fact that the ability to stack attack based on the super attack. So again, raises attack, causes supreme damage. So that means in longer events, you can continue to stack that attack where this guy could potentially hit 2 million plus. Plus, as long as you collect 4 more key spheres, you get a boost and then reduce the damage by 90% up until 40. HP is being 40% or more. So very, very good tank. There's other versions of this which we'll talk about here in a second as well, but definitely one of the better picks out of the group of the agility units. Alright, so moving on to the super tech, the one that stands out obviously is this guy. The Dokkan Awakening is quite phenomenal for this guy, and easily probably the best pick out of the group. So, stacking ability where you can raise attack and defense based on the super attack. I would personally go 15-11. That's how my potential levels are set up for this guy. Again, nuking passive where attack and defense will increase by 20% for key sphere obtained, plus an additional attack and defense of 10% if it's a tech key sphere. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to tech key sphere. So phenomenal unit, very, very good. I would definitely invest in this guy out of the tech group. Links are pretty straightforward stuff. You don't have to really worry about much. He'll link up well with a lot of the other units, and also a good set of categories for this unit. Now, this guy is also pretty good, but I would imagine most of you guys have close to a Rainbow State, but very, very good supporting type unit where raises the attack from the allies' attack based on the super attack. I believe it was like 30%, and then additional 30% toward attack and defense, plus a key boost for allies from the passive skill if you have basically at least 2 or 3 units of the Vegeta's family category. And I believe this guy also did get that EZA, and it is pretty good too. So let's just go ahead and click on this, run through it. Let's see. So this is the EZA stats. Basically raises attack and defense for 1 turn, immense damage. Key boost to allies, also gets a boost, and depending on how many Super Saiyan 2 category allies you have on the rotation, he gets a further boost as well. So, again, this is kind of like compiled quickly and summarized very, very briefly, but definitely a decent option. I don't know if it would be the top pick out of the tech grouping, but certainly not a bad choice. The tech Vegeta here is pretty decent as well. But if it, when it comes down to it, I would definitely go with this guy or the Kid Trunks, because just the Dokkan Awakenings themselves just are absolutely absurd, and it's quite good. So this guy, as long as you have a Kid Goten or Krillin unit on the same rotation, you're basically reducing damage by an additional 30% plus that standard 40%. So this guy will be able to tank attacks very, very well. The LR Gohan and Goten also do fall into the criteria for that as well. And I know we have a new Krillin, the agility version that just came out from JP, so that would probably also fall into that as well. Personally, I run this guy a lot on the Hybrid Saiyans, probably also like, you know, the Kamehameha category. All those are pretty good. Link sets are also very, very good. So definitely recommend you pick up this unit if you're lacking dupes for this guy. Highly, highly recommended. Alright, let's just move on. So these two guys also did get an easy A, and they're pretty decent. I mean, they have their, you know, set of attack and defense increases. I think this Trunks will... you know, it pretty much has a Kaioken mechanic where you can stack attack based on longer battles. It's more useful, but, you know, out of the group here, what stands out to me is Goten, Golden Frieza, and Metacooler. Those are probably the top picks out of the intelligent types. So, again, similar to the Kid Trunks, the Dokkan Awakening did make this unit very, very good. Again, it's similar types, pretty much a replication of the setup. So as long as you have, you know, a Kid Trunks or Krillin on the rotation, this guy will be able to mitigate damage like crazy. So again, along with that, the super attack will raise allies' attack by 30% for one turn. And, you know, having this guy with LR Gohan and Goten, or I mean the Kid Trunks with LR Gohan and Goten really makes it phenomenal, because, you know, you can have that extra boost. I think Kid Trunks had the same super attack setting, but you know, this guy is equally as good. Definitely worth the rainbow in my opinion. The next one was Golden Frieza. So this guy is easy A. Again, the agility and intelligence version of these guys' easy A actually made them quite good. And from an easy A standpoint, you know, target Goku category allies get that ki boost and attack and defense boost as well. But this guy also gives himself attack and defense increase of 90%. But the good thing about this unit is high chance of performing a critical hit when facing an enemy whose name includes Goku. So any type of Goku unit outside of, you know, these specific names, you're basically, you know, giving yourself a high chance of performing a super attack. Along with that, you have the ability to stack defense. So, you know, on the legendary Goku event battle, you know, for example, this guy is very, very, very good. So certainly a worthwhile unit. You know, we have a good set of options, agility, tech, and this intelligence version, but this one is definitely not a bad one at all, and, you know, falls into a lot of good categories. The last one is the Metacooler unit. I know the agility is also, you know, the Dokkan Fest unit at this point, but I use this guy quite a bit, especially on the Conquest of Terror and Transformation Boost setup. This guy just performs really well, you know, with the team I have in mind that I typically run. And, you know, very, very good support. Attack and defense increase of 50% to himself, but allies get attack increase of 30%. Extreme type allies get that ki +3. Defense increase of 40%. Also massively lowers defense, so that can also be very, very helpful when it comes to you know, the tougher enemy settings, and even, you know, potentially Battlefield or Super Battle Road. I mean, this guy is very, very, very good. Link sets are awesome. I mean, you know, Resurrected Warriors is pretty decent. Movie Boss is obviously pretty good, but again, I run the Conquest of Terror and Transformation Boost setup. I'm sure he does equally fine on Wicked Bloodline, even though you kind of have to sacrifice the optimal leader skill for that. You know, Artificial Life Forms and Target Goku and Revenge categories are also very good. So this guy is definitely a top pick out of the group of these guys here. So let's move on before the video doesn't drag out too much. So this one, you know, if you don't have dupes, I might recommend you pick this up, because that easy A is happening. And look, this is just my guess at this point, but I feel like they're gonna make his Extreme Z Awakening pretty damn amazing. That's just my guess. All right, let's just kind of briefly cover it individually. This one is a good support in terms of the what was it? Like basically Super Battle Road setting. When you're facing more than 2 enemies, this guy will provide a pretty significant boost to allies. So like that 40% toward attack and defense, ki +1 when facing 2 or more enemies. Also has that medium chance of stunning the enemy. So this is a really good unit for the Super Battle Road setting, and of course a lot of different categories for this unit as well. So in summary, this is probably you know, one of the units I could potentially recommend to you guys that you might want to pick up. The Beerus is pretty good. The support for the Rivals category, it's kind of weird how this isn't necessarily the best of linking buddies for the other, like LR Beerus and Whis or whatever, but, certainly not bad. The Gohan unit, it is a little bit restricted to where you do have to have, I think it was a Super Saiyan Goku or Goku unit to be on the same rotation to get that extra boost toward attack. Of course, this guy's pretty decent, but a little bit obsolete at this point in time. 33% attack increase to allies is fine, but defensively, this guy's a little bit of a liability. I feel like this guy will get an easy A at this point, at some point in the near future, but honestly, if it came down to it, for strength types, it would be this guy, probably Topo, and maybe, I don't know, I would probably just skip the rest of these guys and go with the other typings. Alright, so lastly, let's go to the physical type units. So, decent amount of units. The ones that stand out, obviously, is this one, which is a very, very good, I don't know, it's hard to explain it because he has like stunning abilities as well as like the critical hit chance. Like if you look at it, it's pretty phenomenal how good this unit potentially is. Great chance of stunning the enemy, plus based on, the HP levels, you get a high chance or a great chance of performing critical hits, as well as, ki boost himself and also attack and defense boost. So, the only thing that hurts it is it's missing the Fierce Battle Link, but of course, being a Super Saiyan, the Link sets are very good, and you don't really have to worry about anything when you're running the unit on the relevant categories. So I would definitely recommend this if you're lacking dupes or whatever the case is. Will make your life a lot easier on the Super Battle Road settings and potentially Battlefield, depending on the enemy type. So this is definitely a top pick for that. This one is also a personal favorite. I think out of the Super Saiyan 2 units that did get an easy A, this is probably my favorite. And defensively, this guy's quite good. You have the ability to raise defense by 30% for 6 turns. Also good support. All allies get Ki plus 3, defense increase to 30%. Super Saiyan 2 category allies get attack increase of 30%, and this unit gives himself an attack and defense increase of 70%. So I personally do like this unit a lot. I could certainly recommend it, and there's a little bit of bias because of how much I love this unit, but certainly a great option and great amount of categories that this unit falls into. So certainly worthwhile to consider. But again, there are a fair amount of categories that fall into the physical type. Like Gotenks here is also very, very good. If we just go to the final state with the easy A, immense damage, still super attack, attack increase of 120%, performing a super attack, Ki up to 3, and defense increase up to 120% with each SA performed. So this guy does quite well on, I tested this guy off on various, different setups like Super Battle Road, Battlefield, Legendary Goku event, and this guy's pretty damn good. In summary, that's probably the best way to put it. And I know I'm kind of just covering the surface level, but it is what it is. I don't want to drag him out to be potentially a 30-40 minute video. So of course, this one's similar to the Tech Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Very, very good support. I don't run him as much as I used to because there are better options at this point, and not necessarily the teams I run typically that this guy falls into. I don't necessarily need supporting units, but this guy will be a pretty good support option. 30% from the attack, super attack, and then another 30% toward attack and defense with the passive based on criteria. So similar to the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta unit. I do want to highlight at least the Berserker Kale unit because the easy A is quite nice. The only thing I don't like about it is basically you have to get 6 or more physical Ki spheres obtained, starting from the 7th turn. Basically, you have the ability to reduce damage received by 60% for 6 turns from the start. But after that, you do have to pick up the specifically physical type Ki spheres. So that's what makes it a little bit difficult. The physical type Kefla is not necessarily a top pick to include on any team at this point, but that unit is an orb changer and does make it a little bit easier. The problem is if you have the transforming Kefla, that unit also does require at least, I think it was like 5 Ki spheres to get that secondary passive to activate, so you do have to compromise a little bit. So either way, This unit is great in terms of, you know, being able to super up to 3 times per rotation. You know, also greatly lowers defense. You know, she's quite good, and you know, of course, a Super Saiyan unit, so you don't really have to worry about it. Of course, Universe Survival Saga and Universe 6 is probably the best setup because of the Tournament of Power link skill, where you know the units sharing that link will get a key +3. So that in itself is quite good. I think the last one to cover, Champa's pretty decent, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's top tier. Bergamo, I mean, do we really need to explain this? I mean, people know what's up with this guy, so we'll just go ahead and talk about it. This will be a good fitting unit to talk about at the very end. So again, decent extreme type lead, not the best, but 80% is still pretty decent. But supreme damage to enemy raises defense by 30% for 9 turns. So obviously if you have more levels toward additional, you could certainly stack that defense. Attack and defense increased by 30% with each attack received up to 300%, and then rare chance of turning into giant form with HP is 80% or below. So that 300% boost with every attack received toward attack and defense. Once you get this fully built up, this guy is an absolute beast. So of course, like the real good categories, I mean, obviously Universe Survival Saga is the best one, but certainly, you know, applicable in these other 2 categories as well. The link, obviously, you know, Infighters is okay. I mean, it's fairly common. Brutal Beatdown is definitely more common. Tournament of Power specific to this category. You know, you could definitely get that key boost to guarantee the super attack. Fierce Battle's obviously you know, a nice one to have with that 15% increase to attack. So I know I really went through this in a summarized fashion, and there are a lot of units that I could talk about that I necessarily didn't highlight, but in order to make this, you know, into a 15-20 minute video, I wanted to just cover the basis. And you know, if you have any other opinions, definitely share that in the comment section and basically give insight to, you know, some of the other units available out of the list. Alright, so this is basically my, you know, brief summary and recommendations as to who might be the best picks for the 77 SSR list from the wish strip. So hopefully you found this helpful, and you know, maybe it'll help out a little bit with your selection process. So if you enjoyed it, definitely leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, I will catch you guys later.